Hey everyone, it's Strange Michael. I hope you're doing well today. I had a really awful day yesterday. Like I said in my review for Home Sweet Home, I left my job at like 9 o'clock at night instead of my usual time, which is a few hours later, midnight. And I came home early and just decided flat out like, hey, you know what? I want to just come home. My wife was out with her mom, and I was like, I'm just going to come home and sit down and just watch some movies. So I sat in the dark in my living room, and I finished that terrible Home Sweet Home movie. I think I had like 20 or 30 minutes left of that. I finished watching that, and I was like, what can I watch now? So I went to Tubi. Good old Tubi. I love Tubi. Stuck around on that, looking around for some horror stuff to watch, and I found one that's my kind of movie, and I really dug this. It wasn't amazing or anything, but I really dug it. It's called Escape Room. Of course, there's a billion of these things now. There's 2 that went to the theaters. There's one with Skeet Ulrich, which is my favorite of all these types of movies. It was a little bit different. But anyway, this one came out in 2017. It is directed by Will Wernick, who has not done much. I haven't seen his other movies either, but this movie's only about an hour and 20 minutes long. And I will tell you flat out, I was very engaged with this. I originally worried about it being a very low-budget movie, and a lot of the time on Tubi you can find stuff like that, but you can also find good Oscar-winning movies or horror stuff. You can find really good and really, really, really awful. You can find all kinds of things on Tubi. That's why I like it. It's like what Netflix used to be, And I miss the old days of Netflix like that. So, Tubi, I am very impressed, number one. But number two, I was very impressed with this particular movie. So, essentially what this is another escape room movie, like I said. Group of people going into escape room, goes wrong. What else do you need? That's all that matters to me. I'm a huge fan of the Saw franchise. That's like it's tied with Nightmare on Elm Street as my favorite horror franchise. It's kind of more of a thriller franchise, but I kind of consider it having a little bit of horror elements as well. So I just call it a horror franchise. Anyway, I really hope this gets a sequel of some sort. It doesn't need to, but if it did, I'd be totally down. I'd watch it. Like I said, you have ones like the one that went to the theater called like Escape Room or Room Escape or something like that. And it was awful, and I hated it. It became this whole weird conspiracy movie, and that sucked so bad. I remember being so disappointed with that after seeing the great Skeet Ulrich film that nobody talks about. And everybody hates it. It has like a 4 out of 10 on IMDb for some reason. This one here, too, it doesn't fare very well either. It's like a 4 out of 10 once again. I don't know why people hate this kind of movie. I really dig the escape room, isolation, horror type of thing. Especially when there's effort put into puzzles. I really dig that, and I think that this is a great example of one of these lower budget movies that look like a bigger budget Hollywood movie because of the directing, because of the sets, and it works. It works really well. I really enjoyed this. Basically, on this particular situation, it's not just a group of people go to an escape room. There's one particular fellow whose birthday it is today, or this day, October. Something like October 13th. I only know that because it's a plot point of the movie. His girlfriend, he kind of has like a whole escape room thing planned with his girlfriend that she just kind of surprised everybody with, right? And she gets the whole group put into a black van after they have dinner, and they have to get blindfolded and everything, put their cell phones inside of a box and all that. And they basically get on this black van and drive for a very long time out in the middle of nowhere, and they get escorted into a building. And a lot of them wake up individually. Some of them wake up with 2 of them in the room. There's about 6 people involved in this situation. And it basically becomes a typical escape room. You have to solve the escape room puzzle to get out. There's some weirder things happening, though, right? So things start to get to more serious measures. They start to realize that things are a lot more dangerous, right? This was so much fun. It was a really fun film, and to have such an awful day yesterday like I had, and I want to, if the film director happens to be watching this, the writers, whoever, anybody involved acting in this movie, if any of you happen to be watching this movie, or this review, excuse me, I want you to know how, after such an awful day yesterday at work, how much this was more fun to get things off of my mind. I don't get a whole lot of time nowadays to really escape because of renovation stuff and everything. I don't even have time to really read that often anymore. I definitely don't have a whole lot of time to watch movies, specifically horror movies. I just don't have the time a lot of the time. I try to. For this channel, I try to carve out a couple hours a week to watch something and review it, but a lot of the time I just don't have the time. I want to, though. So to have the time after a really bad night to come home and just be able to relax and watch some movies or TV or something alone in the house, this really helped me feel better after yesterday because of how much I dug this and how this is my kind of movie. It started out and I worried it would be a piece of garbage. But frankly, with the effort put into the script with the puzzles and the effort into the sets and how fun they were, this was fantastic. It was so good, and I really, really, really found myself just having so much fun with this movie, trying to figure out the puzzles with the characters. Of course, that's kind of the appeal of the Saw franchise or appeal of these escape room horror movies. And yeah, this was a fad type of movie. This was hitting a fad that was coming out at that time. But man, it really worked. It was so much fun, and I had a blast watching it. And I cannot believe that more people didn't talk about this movie or really discuss it online, or at least in the communities I follow. I'm surprised more people didn't talk about this. I had a blast with it. I think it's a fun flick, just like most escape room films I've seen so far, which means out of the two that I've seen, out of the three, I've liked these. The one that went to the theater is horrible. Eventually I will review the ones that went to the movie theaters, the one that was like Escape Room something and Escape Room Champion, Tournament of Champions, something like that. Both of those are going to suck. I don't even have any hope for them. Anyway, I can't believe this is rated lower than that garbage one that went to the theaters that was a mainstream movie. Anyway, this was fun. I recommend it highly. I think everybody brings a really solid performance here. There's a lot of character stuff with our main character that I think really works in the script. And I think that everybody, except for like two people, had a lot to do in this movie. And I was impressed. I was impressed with the twists and how he went about that. I was impressed with how it goes more of a jigsaw route in a lot of ways. It was a fun movie. I will say this. One of the reasons that my rating is going to be so low with how impressed I sound about it, my rating is going to be kind of lower than what you would probably think I would typically rate it if you watch a lot of my reviews. Just because of the ending being a little wish-washy. Again, I wouldn't mind a sequel. I wouldn't mind a non-direct sequel. I like escape room movies. It could be anybody putting it out, and I will probably watch that movie. But this one is just not amazingly perfect, you know? And I say that a lot with a lot of movies, but this particular ending was a little mixed and a little confusing, frankly. I think that kind of lowers the quality of the film. But the other thing is, and this is just me, movies like this lose their appeal on future rewatches, right? Because you know the puzzles, you know the answers. The fun is the first time you watch the movie. A lot of my rating should be based on that. This is my first time watching this. A lot of my rating should be based on that. But I also, on my channel, try to consider on future rewatches, what would this be like? What do I think about it? How will certain things age over time? Of course, it's been like 5 years since this movie got released. And I've been very late to the game, but still, to me, I wanted to give it a higher rating, but I cannot go higher than a 3 out of 5 stars, because I wanted to give it a 4, I really did. I had a blast with it, and I think, honestly, it probably deserves that. But this kind of movie is cursed with the situation of how will it age on future rewatchings. Like I said, I just don't think I'm going to be as engaged next time around. I'll be looking up from my phone or something to look at my favorite parts of the movie or something, you know what I mean? That's just me being honest. That's the curse for these kinds of movies. It's not like the Saw franchise where every single thing matters. Every single thing ties together. Every moment, every character glance around the room or two, just doing a small cutaway to one character glancing at one character or a certain facial feature that moves on their face. Everything matters in the Saw franchise, in my opinion. Whereas like Nightmare on Elm Street, the movie from beginning to end, on almost every single movie of that franchise, is just fun. It has one-liners. It has this wonderful 1980s music and the look of it, and it just feels fun. The imagination that goes into it is fun. Friday the 13th, you watch Jason do things. Yeah, it has those dull moments in some of the earlier films that it's just characters that you don't care about doing dumb things or doing things you don't really care about at all. Like kind of like the original Friday the 13th. But those filler moments are things I typically don't pay attention to on future rewatchings, right? But the movies that from beginning to end have so many things about them that really matter and make you want to watch them. Even if you know how somebody's going to die in a slasher movie, if the rest of the film has a certain element to it that you really like the setting or something, yeah, you'll pay attention the entire time, like Sleepaway Camp, for example. I really like everything about Sleepaway Camp. I love that movie. It's not just about the plot twist at the end. It's everything else in that movie that makes it fun to watch and makes me love it. that film holds up on rewatching, you know? This is the type of movie that is just cursed in the sense of it won't hold up like that. So I give it a 3 out of 5 stars. Like I said a long time ago, I give it a 3 out of 5 stars because I don't think it's going to hold up on future rewatchings for me personally. Maybe for other people. And I will totally rewatch this at some point. I might even buy a copy of it. This is one of those movies that are lower budget, like Would You Rather, that I love. And I think it's a really solid flick for my appeal and my taste in movies. But anyway, what are your thoughts on this particular escape room movie, the 2017 film? Did you love this? Did you hate it? What did you think? Again, I still think I like the Skeet Ulrich film better. I don't know what year that came out, but that's a fantastic movie. I think it's just called No Escape Room or something like that. But that one I love to death. I think it's phenomenal. I can't believe people hate it the way they do. It's pretty close to being perfect in my opinion. I loved it. But anyway, this one was really solid. I really recommend it. I think the character drama amongst the characters, since they're a group of friends and brothers and sisters and just young adults in general, that stuff was fantastic. I really think the characters are well realized by the actors and by the writers. And it just worked. It worked. If you like the Saw franchise, this kind of movie is going to be for you. And again, it's on Tubi. Tubi is free to use. Free to watch things, so you can just watch this. It's not illegal. Anyway, what are your thoughts on Escape Room? Did you love it? Did you hate it? Put your thoughts and comments down below, folks. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this movie. Thank you for watching. God bless you, and goodbye.